Alright. So as Dead by Daylight rolls into its 9th year of being just an insanely popular multiplayer game, the game over this past year has gotten many different changes, including many additions of brand new game modes, game modifiers, whatever you want to call it. Basically, just different modes that change the game in some way. Some of them were pretty unique, like stuff like Chaos Shuffle or Lights Out, and then there was modes like My Little Oni, and we don't talk about My Little Oni because that one only lasted for like 2 days, and it was definitely the weirdest mode that they've ever added. However, as of now, we now have what I'm pretty sure the entire community is also going to call the best game mode they've added in Dead by Daylight, being the 2v8 game mode, which this has been something that the community's wanted for God knows how long, and me and Gage, we've also wanted this for God knows how long. But the 2v8 mode is officially in Dead by Daylight, where there's 2 killers, there's 8 survivors, there's 8 generators, and we're just going to be kind of talking about it, giving our opinions on it, and just what we thought was good, not good, stuff like that, similar to the Lights Out video. But first, just to kind of give a quick recap of how the game mode works, as it is stated in the name, 2 killers, 8 survivors, there are 8 generators, and the maps are made to be bigger and have more generators, more pallets, and just overall more stuff on the map. And yeah, pretty much you have the survivors that all have their own unique abilities. Some of them being able to get haste and just run away faster. Some of them being able to do generators better with teammates, or like when there's a killer around. Some of them are pretty much like one of the classes is more like a medic that you can use for healing your teammates quicker. And then there's a class also for basically being a scout and just basically seeing auras all the time. And those are the main 4 classes, and you can pretty much play as any survivor that you want. Now, with the killers, it's a lot more interesting, because with the killers, you only get the base 5. So you get Trapper, Hillbilly, Wraith, Nurse, and Huntress. But each one of them have their own like unique abilities, and they also have abilities to help each other out. So each killer has 2 unique abilities dedicated to them, and then they all also have 2 abilities that help each other out when you're in a close range. For example, with the Hillbilly, if you chainsaw near your killer teammate, then your killer teammate is able to insta-down survivors that they're chasing just from you chainsawing in their general direction. And there's also some killers that did get some slight changes as well. Like, for example, Billy's chainsaw does not insta-saw anymore, so you can't insta-down people. Huntress, if she runs out of hatchets, she becomes a base movement speed killer. Pretty much just little changes like that to make it actually playable for the killers. But overall, like, yeah, pretty much just the killers all have unique abilities for their killer they're playing, and abilities to help their teammates. And when it comes to the maps, there isn't, similar to the Lights Out mode, there isn't a lot of maps you can play on. It's mostly just Macmillan, Autohaven, Coldwind, and the Crotus Pen Asylum. And it's only 1 map from each of those realms, so you're not playing on all the maps. But yeah, that's basically just a recap of the mode. So, now we can kind of just talk about like me and Gage's first impressions with the mode, because me and him have played it pretty much every single time we played DBD has been 2v8 since it released. So yeah, we can kind of just talk about like what we thought was great about it and just our first impressions about the mode. If you would like to give your first opinions.
My first opinions is you forgot about Red Forest.
My bad.
Anyways,
we never get that map, so okay.
To be fair, we started playing that map. To be fair, we started playing that map, and then the game was like, you're gonna get Autohaven, Coldwind, and
Crotus Pen
the
Asylum.
Occasional, and Crotus Pen. That's it. That's all you're gonna get. Anyways, my opinion, man, what is there to say? I think the variety. I think everyone. It's the first thing everyone says is a negative. Is that there's no variety right now, which makes sense. There's only 5 killers. There's only 5 maps. There's only, if they decide to add more classes for survivors, there's only 4 classes. So there's like really like only 2 playstyles in the Survivor, because to be honest, 2 of the classes are just you heal or do generators a little bit faster, help
Yeah,
your team do them a little bit better.
and
So
as
there's like
well,
really no variety in the Survivor gameplay, and I've seen that complaint everywhere. Like,
yeah.
and so I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I get it. I think it's still fun to even play Survivor, but
I mean, as well as, because, like, with the classes as survivors, only 4 survivors can play as one class, which I think makes sense to just...
yeah,
So, like,
having a stack of escapists would just kind of not be fun when everyone.
yeah, like, obviously, like, both teams of 4 can all play, like, one class, like, 4 people could play escapist, 4 people could play engineer, but, like, at least it's still, like, at least there's still 2 different teams playing in a different way, rather than 8 people playing the same class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I just remember the first experience that you and me had with 2v8. It was the most chaotic I've ever seen Dead by Daylight be. I don't think I've ever had matches close to the amount of stuff that went on in 2v8. Like, it was so chaotic because we did not know how it was gonna work. And we kind of just winged it. We kind of just went in and just tried to play the game normally. But I still think that it was pretty fun. Like, even now, like, after playing it for like a while, for like definitely basically the entire time it's been out, I still think that it's pretty fun. The chaos of it definitely has worn off a little bit, just because now we're pretty used to...
I'm pretty sure everyone is now gotten actually kind of good at the game mode. So now it's kind of starting to get cutthroat and it's not very chaotic. Well, there's still definitely some chaos, but...
It's definitely more just like people playing the game normally now than people just panicking and everybody's running around because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And one thing as well to keep in mind with 2v8 is there is no way to go up or down with your ranking or MMR system. So your MMR still applies in the mode, but when you finish a match, your MMR doesn't go up or down depending on how you play. So that, I do think that is definitely an improvement, because every single game mode we've gotten up to that point has included the ranking system, which I was just... even for like game modes like My Little Oni, I'm like,
so, did that one do that still?
Yeah.
I think it did the MMR, but I didn't think it like affected your MMR.
Yeah, it did, because it did with My Little Oni as well, because every time you would kill all 4 survivors, the game would consider it a loss, because you pretty much did like nothing the entire game.
Okay.
Which, like, yeah, but like, this is the first game mode that they didn't include the ranking system, which I felt like was a definite, like, we needed that. And because of that, your lobbies will definitely be very mixed. Like, you'll definitely have some people that are a bit more experienced at the game, but you'll also get people that are still new to the game.
Depending where your MMR is before launching into the game, that is what the game is going to try to consistently grab. But obviously queue times changes that, so...
Yeah, the queue times were kind of a big issue when the mode first came out, and they still kind of are an issue. Like, I feel like people have just gotten used to it at this point, but that has been a bit of an issue since it first came out, was that the queue times just for loading into the matches will take up to like 15 minutes just to queue for one game.
In all honesty, I guess for me, it's like, it doesn't really bother me. I've seen a lot of people complain. I don't know how bad the queue times are for the normal mode, but I know a lot of people were complaining about that. They're like, they can't even play a killer match in the normal mode because everyone's playing 2v8.
Yeah.
And thus that brought a lot of people to start saying, don't make this a permanent mode, blah blah blah.
Yeah, which is really interesting, because as of the time of us recording this, the devs made an announcement a couple days ago saying that they were going to extend the mode by another week, because the mode only lasts for 2 weeks. And that was a very big complaint that people had right off the bat, which is really funny after what you just said, that people didn't want it to be permanent. And
well, I think originally when they first announced it, I think that's what people were like, that's not long enough for like a proper testing period. And I think I agree. I don't think that was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks is long enough to harness first opinions, but I think now that we're in the 3rd week here and a couple, or like 4 days away from the mode officially leaving for now. I think now we've finally gotten the proper opinion of people starting to now be like, I don't really like the mode. Now we're getting like proper readjustments and criticism.
Yeah,
which I think is good.
because I mean, like, I don't want to say that the mode was overhyped because I feel like it deserved all the hype that it got.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, once you like play it for a decent amount of time, because you and me, like I said, you and me basically played it like nonstop for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that we've played it for a while and it's coming to an end, we've pretty much had our opinions and basically just what we think about the mode and just overall, you know, like it's definitely has some issues, but the flaws don't overweigh just how good the mode is as a whole.
Yep.
And yeah, just like us playing the mode, there's only been a few times that I've ever just kind of thought like, oh, well, that sucks. I hate that. But it's just fun to be able to load in and play against 8 people and not have to worry about, like, you know, having to worry about sweating to get the win. Like, you can kind of just play the game and not have to worry about what goes on.
Yeah, at least for most matches that was. There's a couple where I don't know if we ever really went up against like a full stack of 8. I don't know if anyone's out there and has that many friends to go up in a full stack of 8.
Oh, a full stack of 8? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because that is possible. I know that for a fact, but...
Yeah, the most we've ever gotten was 5. Yeah, 5.
There was a chance for 6, but somebody didn't join, so...
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's another thing I've seen for another complaint is that like the survivor side, not only is the survivor side like, so like if I've seen a couple people and that's a valid complaints is like the killer side isn't, you don't really have too many combos and stuff because there's only 5 killers. Understandable.
Yeah.
But then that immediately extends into the survivor complaint because it's the same 3 combos or whatever that people figured like, oh, we're just gonna play these 2 killers.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of just one of those modes where it's like once you find the combo that you and your friend are strong with, you kind of just tend to stick with it just because you know like that's the best combo you could come up with.
Yeah, that is kind of the issue with the test trials. I feel like they could have put in a couple extra like non-licensed killers just to have in there, because I get why the original 5 are chosen because everyone has access to them immediately, but it would have been nice to just have like some other easy easy kill. Like I think having clown in there would have been really easy to include. I think having maybe even Hag would have been another kind of easy one to have in the mode.
The thing is, too, is that, like, even if people couldn't, like, afford the characters or they just didn't have them, I still think it would have made sense just to put them in that mode because they're going to be...
It doesn't have to be all of them, but just, like, because, I mean, that's a lot of...
Well, that and, like...
It's a lot of originals, but...
That and, like, they're gonna be changing the way the killer functions, like, power-wise anyways. So it's not like they're gonna get like the full experience of that killer until they actually just get them and play them in normal matches.
Yeah.
So like it would kind of be like back when we used to have the offerings to play as like certain killers. Like it would basically be like that, except just turned into a game mode where you can play the killers, see if you like them.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, just have them free for that mode.
Yeah.
At that time, if they don't have it, I guess that's fair. Yeah, it's like a PTB at that point. Might as well just do whatever.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing is maybe they just don't have the balancing. Like maybe they want to change Clown and how his bottles work or something like that.
Yeah, which makes sense. But like for Clown especially, like I don't think that would be that much of a difference, just because.
Yeah, he already has a team power built in his power, which is just throw the yellow bottle at your teammate to get a little haste boost or something.
Yeah, literally. I could totally see that as well. Just like you see your friend mid chase,
I could even see them changing specifically Clown to make it where like if you yourself walk in a yellow, within 16 meters, you give your teammate that haste boost as well, or something goofy like that. Just something
Yeah,
basic.
just something to help your teammate out.
Yeah, but yeah, I just feel like the killer variety was the biggest like downside, especially for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because like right now, I'm like I don't really care to go back on there, other than maybe like just I don't know, goof around a Survivor a little bit more. But it's like yeah, there's just not a lot of variety for Survivor because like I said before, like 2 of the classes are very just kind of like one of them is literally oh you get to heal a little bit faster and like that's good. It's definitely good.
Yeah, but like
and the other one is Guide, which I just don't think is also good at all. I think it's like the worst Survivor class that they have there.
I mean, because all it really does is like basically make it so if a killer's next to you and you do like great skill checks, it increases the gen speed by a little bit.
Yeah,
which
you
like
have to be good at doing that, which like not everyone's gonna be good at that. And then every other benefit is just, hey, I'm on a generator. I think that's probably the best part about that is just being like, hey, I'm on a generator. So like visually, without looking at the HUD, because the HUD is, dude, the HUD information is basically useless. Like they made like every little, they made every other Survivor but yours smaller. So like you can see that somebody's doing something, and it's not too bad to be like, okay, somebody is doing a generator, but
there's just because so the map many
is
people.
There's so many people and like you just have no clue. Like you'll have the idea that hey they're on a generator, you'll have no fucking clue where they're at. Or you'll walk with somebody else doing a generator and then you'll be like, oh that's not this person doing the generator, this is someone completely different. Yeah. So that is nice on Guide to be like, okay, there is someone specifically over there doing a generator, and it highlights every person on the generator too, which is nice.
Yeah.
So you know how many people are on it as well. And whether to, hey, I'm gonna go over there and help that one person, the one guy on the generator, or oh, there's like 2 people on there already. I'm just gonna go do something. I'm gonna go save or do something else.
Yeah.
So that's like the only benefit I think of that one is to give other team information. But at that point, I'd rather just play Scout if I want to give team information and just go fucking follow the killers.
Yeah, because Scout is definitely the best at being able to do that. Just being able to tell the entire team of 8 people like, hey, the killer is, there's one killer over here and there's one killer over there.
Yeah, like, I see this killer right now. You should be able to see his aura right now. And I just got my alert activated on the other side of the map, and I see them breaking a pallet. I assume by Shack. It's something like that.
Yeah, and like it also kind of helps for like because you know it's 2v8, so it's pretty expected that this will happen. But like it also just helps you understand like if you're in the middle of a chase and you have the feeling that the other killer is going to come over and try to double team you, you can kind of get that information early on, so that way you can kind of plan it out before both of them start chasing you. Because there has been multiple situations that me or Gage will get chased by both killers at the exact same time, and it goes about as bad as you could expect it to go.
Yeah, there's not very like, unless you can easily like put yourself in between a pallet and loop and then just either circle or mind game the fuck out of the other killer, there's really no chance you're not getting at least hit once.
Yeah, and it's like it makes sense why
if not worse, and getting downed immediately, since they can just double hit you at the same time and just
and it's like it makes sense why they did stuff like making Billy so he can't insta down survivors, so that way like your killer teammate can't like sandbag somebody, so that way you can insta down them.
Yeah, he'd be way too fast if he could, like he'd be way too fast and efficient.
Yeah, so I mean like
downing people.
Yeah, it's good that they made changes like that, but like if you, for people that haven't played the mode or seen the mode yet, like that is something that is going to happen, is that like there's going to be situations where both killers just come after you at random and there's just nothing you could do about it.
Nothing you can do about it.
Other than just try.
I've seen people talk about that and talk about being like, yeah, no, like that's not good balance, and I'm like, well, to be fair, there's 8 survivors on the entire map with 2 killers. If both killers have to chase you down just to
go you down, then like clearly something's not right. Something between
something is not right. Yeah, that means there is a potential, and I say potential because there's no way you're like if you're just randomly queuing, there's no way you're coordinating this. But like there's a potential chance that at the beginning of the match, if you're being chased by both killers, you won't last long. That's a given.
Yeah.
Unless you're just like really good at like a double loop area, because well, I think that'll be the next thing we'll get into real quickly. But unless you get into the double loop area, it's like there could be a chance that there are 7 generators being worked on, or at least like 3 generators being worked on twice as fast with everyone getting on different generators.
Yeah, because that's another thing too, is that generator speeds have been increased for this mode, not by much to where it feels unfair, but it's definitely like noticeable when you load into a game just how fast generators can fly, like just be flown through, because yeah, when you have like 3 people doing the same gen and the gen speed's increased, and you might have somebody playing like the class for generators, it can be noticeable how quick generators go by.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it comes to the maps, like we said, there's not a huge list of maps. It's one map from like each of like the different realms: Macmillan, Coldwind, Auto Haven, Crotus Pen Asylum, and Red Forest. Because I forgot about that one.
It's specifically each map that the killer came in with, more or less.
Yeah.
So so maps have definitely been increased back to old DBD. I'm pretty sure they're almost the same size as, I don't remember if you remember, but remember when we went and played the beta or whatever?
Oh yeah, and the maps were
and
like,
it was like all, yeah, they're all like stitched together.
yeah, it was like
a really huge map.
It was every map stitched together because it had every main building. Yeah, and that's kind of what it feels like, except it just doesn't have all the main buildings. It just has like one of each main building.
It just has one of each. I don't know if it's the exact same. Like, they're big. I don't know if they're like absolutely big, but they're definitely like close to, if not increased by, minimum increased by like 50%. At most double the map size.
Yeah, because like it can feel like as if there's like 2 maps stacked on top of each other in the game. Because for Macmillan, it's the, I don't remember the name of the map, but it's the one with the coal mine. It's that one, and then for Coldwind, it's the Thompson House. For Auto Haven, I think
it's Suffocation Pit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, for Macmillan.
For Macmillan, yeah, Thompson House.
Auto Haven.
Is that Azor's resting place?
No, I think it's the one that like doesn't. No, it is Azerov's resting place, right? Because it has that main building. Yeah.
Yeah, it has that main building. I don't know if that main building's on multiple maps or if it's just.
It's just that map.
It's just that map. So instead of the fucking dog bone map design that Azor's resting place is, instead it's
like a normal map just with the main building. For Crotus Pet Asylum, it is the asylum.
Yeah, it's just the asylum.
Yeah, and then for Red Forest, it is Mother's Dwelling, so the one with the giant house and stuff like that. So it's just one map from each of those realms. And from our experience on those maps, most of them were just fine. Like, most of them are pretty open, so you could see pretty clearly. One thing to keep in mind is that they both added extra tiles on the map with like extra pallets, and they also extended the length of certain loops, which they've already been kind of doing that in the base game. So like, unless they were doing it in the base game just to test it out for 2v8, I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, so they added extra loops, and it's definitely more noticeable when you're on like the edge maps, because on like the edge maps you can see like small little loops with pallets on them, but there's also some loops that have just been extended to be like twice as long as they normally are, which like you would think would be like really OP against killer, but it's like you gotta think about that, like you're probably not gonna be able to get more than maybe like 2 loops on it before you either throw the pallet or get hit, especially since there's another killer that could come after you without you even knowing. So it's not like the worst change ever.
It depends. I think on most maps it wasn't too bad. I think some of the extended loops were fine. I think Crotus Pen or whatever was the worst though. I think that map was the worst though.
Yeah.
With the loop extensions, because they were just solid walls. I've complained about this to you before too. Like, there's definitely a loop that spawns in that map, I think it's the only one. I don't think it's ever like a double loop with 2 pallets.
Yeah.
But there are, on that map specifically, there are tile sets where it's just like broken down, like I guess it makes it look like there
Like
used
a
to be a
broken down
building
structure
or
or something, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just ruined with some like brick walls around it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
swear there are some of them where if the pallet is thrown, it is a giant J going around the tile set.
Yeah.
That is solid wall. And
Yeah.
that is with the pallet dropped on like one of the corner sides. So if someone throws that, it's just immediate god pallet.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's super annoying.
And it's like,
because then usually it connects right into another tile set usually. Like it's just
right, and it's like even without them throwing the pellet, it's still just a long loop overall because Because usually on like the normal Crotus Pen Asylum with that tile, there would be a gap in the middle, so that way like it would be separated from one giant tile into 2 smaller ones. But because this one, it's combined into one long ass tile, unless you're a killer like Huntress or Hillbilly that can like get around, that can either throw over it or go around it quickly. Killers like Wraith and Trapper just don't really, or even Nurse because she can just teleport through it, but like, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Really not that great, and especially since like the main building, not even just in this mode, but the main building just in general sucks on that map. Like, it's like basically a free escape because like there's no way you're catching somebody.
I think it sucked even more in this mode. I mean, they did open up the main area, so it was a lot easier to, because otherwise there'd only be like 3 different weird entrances, and it'd be a lot harder to ambush. So now that you can come from any of the 4 directions, though the generator placement is really weird. I kind of wish it wasn't closed off. Like, I almost wish it was open for 4 survivors to get on it. But what I wish is that you can then like ambush at any side on that generator. But like, no, instead you have to like predict where the placement is if you just know, because otherwise it's being blocked by 2 like, I guess like privacy barriers or whatever for like, you know, like a hospital. I don't know.
I guess
I
don't know.
Yeah, like fucking curtains or whatever. Like it's being blocked by 2 of those, which prevents like only 2 survivors are getting on the thing. But it's just like half the time, that's enough of a barrier blockage that they can like kind of crouch away or something. Like I don't know. Like I feel like there's a couple times where like it's just been more of a hindrance than it is helpful.
Yeah, which like it kind of makes sense given because there's 8 survivors, so the pallets might go flying kind of quickly. But with how quick the generators go, you would think it would make sense to kind of like reduce the amount of pallets so that way we worry less about kicking pallets and more about just applying pressure.
Gems.
Yeah, just more about applying pressure to people. But yeah, it's definitely, it feels more like not just a 2v8 issue and more just a map issue in general. It definitely is an issue in 2v8, but that map in general is just not a good map. Like, I don't think anybody likes playing, because there's that one, and then there's the one that has the circus area, and I feel like even that map is more balanced than...
I think that, I don't know how that map would be in 2v. I guess we'll find out whenever they decide to add it. But no, I think you're right. Like, I think there's not really much dead space in that map either. But in the normal gameplay, I feel like the carnival becomes dead space
fairly quickly.
There's only so many pallets, and there's maybe never like, a window out there.
Usually there's like maybe like 2 pallets there. And then you have that one window vault in that little like
in the
little car,
in the van. Yeah, the little caravan. That's about all you have.
That's about all you have
at that point.
But it's still playable for both sides. Like if the survivor's good enough, they know how to loop it, and if the killer's good enough, they know how to just they know how to end the chase there pretty quickly.
Compared to every other map in 2v8, it's like you have the Thompson house where like the corn is always dead space around the house, though there is sometimes still a pallet like to go to, but it's just like there's still a chance for the killer to gain distance, or even a survivor to just run away and gain distance at a straight line. Because I don't know, I felt like Macmillan auto wreckers was okay. I don't feel like it was ever.
Yeah.
I think like auto wreckers was the more balanced pen, just for the fact that it's kind of the same thing. There's a lot of tiles and not too much dead space, other than like, because I know auto wreckers is map generation is kind of like there's, I feel like it's built in like a grid system. At least that's how it always feels whenever I load into auto records. It's like there are in most auto wrecker levels there is like actual like a grid system. So they're like almost like hallways in between tile sets that you can run in between. So like eventually after a while, once you've exhausted resources, then it's like, okay, now these are actual just dead zones with small gaps of dead zones already in between each tile set.
Yeah, like you might have like a window or something, or just like something small.
Yeah, maybe.
Like nothing.
But it's just the fact that you have to run to it and you have to make sure you have like distance. It just never felt like Penn had that. It just never felt like that.
Yeah, that map always just feels like the survivor's always going to be behind a wall, and that you're just going to have to either just commit to it and just hope you can mind game them enough, or you just have to leave them just because it's too powerful of a tile.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, it definitely doesn't help with the fact that there's only 8 generators, which this was a complaint that I had when they first even discussed the mode in one of their developer streams, because it's always made sense to me back when people modded Dead by Daylight to do their own 2v8. It always made sense to me to have 2 killers, 8 survivors, and 10 generators, because it just makes sense, double everything. But the fact that they're increasing gen speeds, but the max gens is 8, it just seems like such like an outlier, because it's like, especially since like when you get to like 1 gen left, you still have to guard 5 generators around you. So it's like, it's not like you're gonna be in a 3 gen scenario where like nobody's gonna be able to do anything. But it's just like, it just seemed like a weird change from what people would normally expect, that I'm just like, why wouldn't you make it 10 generators? Because I don't even think they ever described why they never did 10. They just said that they were doing 8 and they just left it at that.
My only assumption is if they did do 10 generators, then it would come down to a 3 gen, and it would be really easy for 1 killer to 3 gen the 3 generators. It, like, if the situation arises and the survivors don't space out their gens, then it could be a situation where 3 generators are really close to each other, and then 1 killer 3 gens those generators, while the other killer
guards
keeps
the
applying...
last like 2 or 3 that are there.
Oh no, like one killer guards the generators, and then the other killer just applies pressure by chasing.
Right.
And then the other killer just never leave, even though there is an anti-gen mechanic in the game. So like, I personally don't see a problem with it. I don't think people are going to go out of their way, and even if they do, they can only do it for so long before...
Yeah, they're only going to be able to kick the gens for so... Like, that was literally the whole point, was to prevent 3-genning, and I still think that was one of the best things they could have ever implemented into this damn game.
Yeah. Like, I am to the point now, like, I just don't... Yeah, I kind of don't see a reason either, because eventually, like... I said those matches could be... They could suck, though, because like I said, you have 1 killer that is still chasing and applying pressure.
But the other one just sits
in that mode could be bad. Yeah, and the other one just sits on generators, which, I mean, would be, first off, boring for that 1 killer. Like, I could see, like, me guarding, like, generally guarding the generators, but I just don't see
You're not gonna,
like,
get directly, like, sitting on top of them the entire game.
I feel like I'm gonna go for, like, easy chases if possible, and, like...
Yeah, I mean, because that's kind of how you have to play this mode, is that, like, you kind of have to play it in a way where you're not, like, doing, like, hit and run, but you definitely need to go for more people in the open rather than the one person at, like, really strong tile.
You gotta, depending where you are in the state of the game, as you get less and less generators, you almost have to, and depending how many people are left, you almost do have to kind of, like, as a killer, sometimes pick and choose your fights.
Yeah.
Just to try to slow down the game for sure.
Yeah, so...
Which, I mean, that's just like a normal DBD. Like, you gotta do that sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, because there's 8 generators, and when all 8 of the generators get done, usually there would be 2 exit gates, but it has been increased to 3, which
another good change,
Good
because otherwise, otherwise you just
Otherwise,
sit
it's
on,
over. It's over.
it's over. You just sit on 2 fucking gates and just
And
nobody ever gets to leave.
Similar to it, if there's 2 survivors remaining, like if the killers kill 6 people and there's 2 people left, the hatch does open, but there is 3 hatches, with the exception being that if you find a hatch and go into it, that one just immediately closes, which I think does make sense from a balance standpoint, because otherwise, like, you find one hatch and you just wait.
Yeah, 2 survivors could just always wait till the end game and just find hatches, like, to find the same hatch together. So to make it a race between the last 2 survivors and a last-ditch effort to escape, it's much better to have it closed behind. And like, it sucks it's a little cutthroaty between the last 2 survivors, but I think it's fair, because otherwise you'll have duo squads queuing up for survivor, and that's all they do. Is
And like,
all right, we're just gonna wait for end game and just like look for one hatch and try to get into it as quickly as possible.
And I mean, like, it's already noticeable that's kind of an issue, because because every killer has a universal ability where they can see auras of people from, like, kicking generators, or if you're like
just spotting them. I think if you find get into a chase, you reveal the survivor to the other killer.
Yeah, it's just to kind of like see where they are. But it gets kind of like stupid when, like, you see the survivor's auras and then you see like 4 people just crouching on the edge maps, because it's like, oh, these people just don't want to play the game, they just want to hide until they get the hatch. Which, like, I kind of get it if they're new to the game, because they might not understand how the game works. That's completely fine. I can't really, like, that was one thing I tried to, like, keep in mind every time I was playing this mode. I didn't want to judge players too badly on how they were playing, because of the fact that there's no ranking system, so I would feel bad saying something really mean about somebody, or calling somebody, like, something mean about how they played, without realizing that they're, like, brand new to the game, pretty much. But like, every now and then you see, like, the 3 people on edge map, and you're just like, where have you been this whole game? Like,
even I get it. Yeah, some survivor games and stuff.
Yeah, even as survivor, it's like I'll have a situation where I'm getting chased by, like, both killers, and then, like, you know, like, you'll be, like, spectating, and you'll be like, dude, there's, like, 2 people hiding in, like, lockers, or people hiding in edge map or something, and I'm like, bro, like,
yeah, they're just waiting for you to die.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's some situations where it's like, I don't blame them. There's 3 generators to complete.
But I don't blame him either. It's just something that becomes noticeable, and you're just like, well, that's basically it for me then. Because, like, even as a killer player, you see these people hiding, and you're just kind of like, well, that's stupid. The next thing I kind of want to quickly get into now is just simply the bugs that we experience. Now, granted, most of the bugs that we experience have definitely been patched out as of now, but we played the game mode basically on day 1 for hours. Like, we basically spent the entire day playing 2v8, and there was definitely a couple of bugs that we experienced. Most of them were there was some mostly just, like, visual bugs. Like, I would see, like, a random hill spawn in, like, a random tile, and it would have, like, it would have a weird floor texture, like it didn't belong there. Just little visual bugs like that. But then there was also this weird bug on Autohaven where
apparently that's happening on other maps, but yeah, there was I remember our first day playing, we played Killer. We were playing basically Killer the entire time, other than we tried out Survivor a couple matches or something like that. But
yeah,
we spawned in the Autohaven map, and like a whole chunk of the map, I think I remember it was that an exit gate didn't spawn, because I specifically don't remember a 3rd exit gate on that map.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember it. Maybe there was, and it was like, but I think, like, the map, as far as I've seen somebody say, and I think they're correct, is that the map tried to spawn a exit gate in a location, and if nobody's seen this, basically a chunk of the map just doesn't load in, and so the wall is just missing where a wall should be.
Yeah, and the floor is just a missing texture.
It is like a missing red texture or whatever.
Yeah, so you pretty much can go out of bounds and you can jump off the map.
Yeah, you
Which,
can jump
like-
off the map. You can walk the edge of the map. I don't think you were able to walk to the exit gate.
No, because I'm pretty sure there was like borders and stuff there to like.
No, I think it's just the floor wasn't completed. I think that was
Oh,
the
yeah,
main
that
issue.
too.
Like the floor doesn't connect all the way to the exit gate, so
But-
you couldn't like, because if a survivor could get there, then they would automatically
Just
them
let
escape.
them win, yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's like you could jump off the map. It would just teleport you back into the map, but yeah, just like that was definitely a bug that I've seen. I even saw survivors use it to try and like counter a killer because they're like, if they're getting chased, they're like, oh,
yeah.
just jump off the map and just get teleported.
I'll just jump on the map and get teleported randomly back into the map.
Yeah.
I even did remember doing that, and I did that while somebody was working on a generator. So I basically jumped off the map, and it was just like a jump scare.
Yeah, like it's little bugs like that where it's like it's goofy, but like yeah, you see it and you're just like
it needs to get fixed. That was the biggest bug, I think.
I don't even think it was.
No, it only happened
No,
once.
I think the biggest bug we experienced was. I'm pretty sure you'll remember this. There was a bug we experienced where we got loaded into the wrong version of a map.
Oh yeah! No, I remember that now. Yeah, we were playing Survivor. I really wish we were playing Kill That Match. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We were playing Survivor. We loaded into the wrong Macmillan map, and
Yeah.
I don't remember the map being that bad. Like, I don't think it was increased in size or anything. I think it was
No, it was just
normal...
it was the normal suffocation pit. It was just it was just the fact that like we were playing it like normal, and then you mentioned to me that you started seeing hooks on the map, and I was like,
yeah, I was like, why is there hooks on this map? And I didn't realize until match later. So I'm like, holy shit, we were playing on the actual suffocation map.
Yeah.
Because I like specifically remember, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that wall that extends out, because otherwise it's a big long like rectangle or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's like a big wall that extends out, and then there's always 3 tiles on the one side of that wall.
Yeah.
That connect into each other. And I'm like, holy shit, we were on the fucking normal mode of that with 8v2.
Because
I was like, holy shit.
Because it was also noticeable because whenever we got caged, because in this game mode, instead of survivors having to pick you up and put you on a hook, you get teleported to a random part of the map and you get put in a cage similar to Pyramid Head. On that map, we would get teleported to where the hooks would spawn, so we would be like half clipping into the hooks. And yeah, that map was just buggy as all hell because like I would walk around on it and I would feel like the really jank collision. Like it was very obvious we shouldn't have gotten that map just because the collision was so messed up.
It's like similar to how like there was that map generation of desync with like was it auto Haven that one time, or auto Wreckers that one time, like not too long ago.
Yeah, no, like it was basically just that, except it just gave us the wrong map. That was definitely the strangest bug that I feel like we experienced.
Absolutely.
Because it was just like, yeah, like
again, that was another one time, never happened again. I hear the out of bounds thing where like part of the map doesn't load in for some reason. Yeah, I hear that one happens a lot more. That was just a one-time, like, weird occurrence that we got, like, the wrong map. And loaded in.
Like, I wish I had video of this because, like, maybe I did, I don't know. I recorded a bunch of videos on 2v8 that I'm gonna be using eventually for stuff. But, yeah, just the fact that bugs like that happened. Because, yeah, like you said, we only experienced this on the first day. When we went back in for, like, day 2 or day 3... we didn't experience anything like that, so they most likely just rolled out like a instant patch being like, oh, we fucked up.
And just silently did whatever.
Yeah. Now, this isn't really a bug, but it was also just more of an annoyance. And it was mostly having to do with ping. Because I get it.
Server.
I get it.
Issues.
I get it. Everybody's playing 2v8, so the queue times are going to be higher. And because there's more people playing this one mode, that means the servers have to really start kicking in to help these people get into matches. But oh my god, like there would just be some matches that I would feel like would just be unplayable because of the ping. Like I've experienced this before, and I know this isn't just an issue with 2v8 and it's more just a ping issue. but I would have so many instances as Huntress where I would throw a hatchet at somebody, it would make the sound and the blood splatter effect of me hitting them, and then just nothing would happen. They would be healthy, perfectly fine. Which, yeah, it was that was definitely a big issue, and overall, just the ping on. I'm pretty sure it's gotten better as of now because like they've adapted the servers to work with this game mode, and also because I feel like some people are definitely hopping off the mode because they've seen everything they wanted to see. But yeah, just those like first few days, even the first even just the first day we played 2v8, when we started playing it later during the day, it definitely got noticeable that the ping was just getting worse and the game was starting to just feel really unplayable. But yeah, that was just another major issue I had that I know has been fixed at this point, but yeah, it was very annoying. And we did also experience a bug that isn't in 2v8, it's just a bug in the game that has to do with Trapper, and I'll let Gage explain this because I know he feels deeply about this.
Listen. Your boy got neutered. That's just so. We started playing 2v8, and we're like, all right. I like playing me some Trapper. I was like, I can finally relax. I can play some Trapper, place my web of traps, and hey, there's still someone applying pressure.
Yeah.
Alright, that's all cool and dandy, right? Well, you know your boy and I, we love ourselves the Naughty Bear skin. Naughty Bear skin, great.
Yeah, best Trevor skin they've ever made in the game. Period. We both bought it the same day.
We're playing the game, and I'm telling my boy Nick here. He's like, what are you doing over there? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to like pick up this trap, but I must have fucking dunked it in a fucking vat of butter because I cannot pick up this damn trap. And fucking. Bro, throw that footage up there. I know you got footage of it.
Yeah,
throw footage up there of me fucking.
Yep. It's
fucking it's fucking bad. I'm sitting there trying to pick this shit up. So him and I thought it was a Trapper bug, just overall a Trapper bug. So like I'd still play Trapper, and I'm like, ah, fuck it, I'll just suffer. I'll suffer today and just try to play Trapper. But it turns out it's not a Trapper bug. It's a Naughty Bear skin bug.
Yeah, that is the.
I'm like, are you serious? So I had to unequip the almighty Naughty Bear skin that I paid hard-earned money on just to play the game mode, or just play the game in general, because it's not exclusive to 2v8. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's bullshit.
Yeah, that was a bug. Yeah, like you said, there's a bug with just Trapper in general, not just 2v8. But yeah, Trapper just has a bug with the Naughty Bear outfit where you can pick up traps, but sometimes it takes you like 8 attempts just to pick up a trap, and by that time you give up. You just move on.
Yeah, no, chase is over. Like the amount of times I've lost chases thinking it was just a Trapper bug in general and not like specifically to the skin. It was just like, all right, well.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of times where I'm chasing and I'm like, okay, there's a trap on the way. I'm going to just pick up that trap and then, like, resume chase. Sure, I lose, like, a couple seconds from picking up, but, like, whatever. And then it goes from, oh, I lost a couple seconds from picking up to, I've lost several minutes trying to pick up one fucking... There was a match! I swear to God, there was a match we played, and it was the same night we started. It was, like, the final match, because I'm like, I can't play this anymore right now. I'm so furious from the...
Yeah, the ping,
what I thought was just a Trapper bug.
The game...
There was an entire match where I actually just couldn't pick up a trap. There was not a single successful trap pickup. And the worst part, I was on the pen map. I can't believe I was on pen of all fucking maps. So I was an M1 killer with basically no power because over half my traps are not in good locations. I had 4 traps to like be able to place around, and even then, by then, survivors were like, well, we know where those traps are, so we're just gonna disarm them when you're not there. And it's like, alright. That
Yeah.
was like the worst experience of that of that mode so far.
Yeah, and it was like even when they disarmed them, you could only reset them. You couldn't pick them up.
I couldn't pick them up and relocate them.
Like it was like wherever you play, it's like running the one trapper out on where it's like when you put that trap down, it's staying there.
Yeah, it's staying there. It's like, yeah, you spawn with all the traps and like you can only, yeah.
Yeah,
oh my god. Like that's less of a 2v8 issue and more just like, bro.
Like, how do you fumble?
For the longest time, because I didn't know it was a Naughty Bear skin issue, I just thought one of 5 killers was unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought 1 out of 5 killers here were unplayable in the mode.
Yeah, and then I think you looked it up. I think because you were just really like you were really down
Yeah,
about
I'm
it.
like, how, and then like I found somewhere there was like a forum where they reported it. And it was the Naughty Bear skin. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Like
how?
Like they I mean, dude, I feel like every single big update they do, they always break that skin because I remember when they.
Dude, yeah, no, that skin had a.
It just had like visual bugs when they switched over to Unreal Engine 5. Where his mouth just didn't move and like some of his animations didn't play properly, and just like overall, like even though that skin is by far the best trapper skin, might even be the best killer skin, but that's just my opinion. The best trapper skin they've made, they somehow mess it up every single time they drop a new patch.
Yeah, it just breaks every like other major patch.
Like
it's so bad.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, that, like, we legitimately thought for the longest time, more you, but yeah, we thought Champer was just gonna be straight up unplayable at this mode, just because it was not,
Yeah, I was immediately like, can't believe I gotta do it to my boy, immediate trash tier.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's unplayable with the bug, but no, it turns out it was just a fucking skin. So it was really sad when we went to Survivor and we're like, oh, somebody's suffering today because they're using the Naughty Bear skin.
Yeah, we see someone using Naughty Bear. I swear to God, every single time I would see a Naughty Bear when we play Survivor, I'm like, well, he's gonna have fun having to take 10 attempts to pick up 1 trap. Like, that's gonna be fun.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was definitely. But yeah, in terms of bugs and just overall issues we experienced in 2v8, some of them had nothing to do with 2v8 and it was just the game. But yeah, the small like visual bugs and us spawning into the wrong map, the map wall and auto haven being gone, stuff like that definitely did impact at least how I felt about the mode, because I was like, damn, they really did just drop this mode after hyping it up for so long. They really just dropped this mode without even playtesting it.
Without even playtesting with all the bugs, yeah.
Yeah, because like it was really weird because like 3 days before they let everyone play the mode, they did a developer live stream where they brought a bunch of like really big content creators for DBD and was just like, here, watch these content creators play the mode, which is fine, but you don't do that bugs. But it's like you don't do that when your community can't even play the mode. Usually they do stuff like that when the mode is out, when like everyone can play. They don't just do that when they like bring an exclusive amount of people to play the mode, because I'm just like, it really just,
I mean, I know, I kind of get it. It was them hyping it up even more by showing like, hey,
actual
so
gameplay.
Yeah, we're gonna actually show gameplay a couple days before. Hope you're hyped in the next couple. Like, I feel like 3 days in advance isn't too bad for something like that, because that's just like, again, that's just getting you hyped to like, oh, okay, I'm actually gonna get on and play this.
It's just, it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it kind of just like really like, I just kind of feel iffy about it, because I was like, well, I don't want to watch this because I feel like if I watch it too much, I'm gonna get bored of the mode before I even get to play it. So, like, that was the reason I didn't.
You'll see strategies already instead of experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah.
So I get that.
So, like, I didn't.
I don't know about getting bored from watching the game. Like,
well, I don't mean
like,
bored, but yeah, I just mean like I'm gonna see everything in the mode before I even get to play it. Like, because usually they only do stuff like that when like they would only show off like people playing a chapter when the chapter releases. Like the first day of the chapter releasing. So it was just really weird to me that they were like, hey, the mode releases in a few days, watch these content creators play it, which, like, I get what you mean, is to hype everybody up, but I'm like, I feel like I would have preferred them just to kind of keep it secret so people can kind of like theorize and figure out like how they're going to play the game when it first comes out, because I feel like that would lead to a lot more hype. Because I remember our first match of 2v8, like we were just like we can't believe that we're playing this. Like the fact that this is a real thing that we were playing in Dead by Daylight. But yeah, just like small stuff like that, like those are just little issues that we've had with the mode. Some of them are bigger than others, like the trapper bug was definitely a major issue. And the ping, but stuff like the visual bugs and stuff like that, it's just bad game. Yeah, so the next thing I kind of want to get into now, talking specifically, is the killer combos. Because when it comes to 2v8, obviously, despite the fact that there's 5 killers, the amount of combinations you can do, it's still limited.
Yeah, but
I can't say
5 killers, 10 combos. What's the worst that can happen?
Everybody playing the same, not just
same fucking combo.
But yeah, so it makes this totally makes sense because there's killers like Trapper and Wraith who definitely need a little bit more support to be able to be viable. So having a friend to just help you when you need them the most, perfectly fine. Like, I love that. I just love that the 2v8 exists, so it totally makes sense. But it's pretty apparent when you really look into it that there's just some combos that you look at and you're just
that
like,
are just absolute nombos. Like, goddamn,
yeah,
they're bad.
Like the combos that you can make with killers, sometimes just like you play them and at first you're like, oh, this isn't like too strong, and then like you really get into playing them and you're like, oh yeah, this is I feel like a piece of shit for doing this. So I think what I want to do real quick is just quickly say just overall the strongest killers to play in this mode are easily Huntress and Nurse. I mean, they are overall some of the top tier killers in the game, period. So it's no surprise that they're the strongest killers in this mode. Would be like Huntress, Nurse, and Billy, leaving Trapper and Wraith to be some of the weaker killers. I do think Trapper definitely is better than Wraith, but Wraith also definitely has some better unique abilities compared to Trapper, like being able to make your killer teammate undetectable when you're next to them. That's a pretty cool idea. That I like legitimately thought that was cool. Because being able to play like Huntress or Billy and be able to sneak up on people, even Nurse being able to sneak up on people because of the Wraith being next to me, like pretty cool idea. But when it comes to killer combos, I don't think Wraith is very viable in almost any combo you can imagine.
I feel like the only thing he has going for him is that he has wide map knowledge. Like, Hillbilly moves around really quickly, but has to worry about like hitting objects, and so like you got to be really skillful, Billy, to like utilize that. Wraith, on the other hand, can go invisible. Survivors are more than likely not gonna see him from a good distance, so he can get map knowledge of where survivors are really quickly, or just patrol the map a lot faster than other killers. So he's good for that, like just at least doing like classic hit and run of just hitting a survivor and then going somewhere else to stop another generator from getting completed. But that only like goes so far. Like, he's a very, like, I've said it before to you, like, I think Trapper and Wraith are very support killers, while the other 3 are just really good at applying chase. And
yeah, that was a big point that I know you told me, and I definitely do agree with that. Trapper and Wraith are definitely more for like the backup support, because the fact that they don't have really like insane unique abilities, they're mostly just M1 killers at like just at heart. Yeah, while Billy, Nurse, and Huntress are easily like the powerhouses of the entire match. Like, you can play Trapper or Wraith, and the match can solely depend on if the killer is good at Billy, Nurse, or Huntress. Like, the match can pretty much be determined by that alone. Just depending on how you play, and it does also depend on the survivors you play against. Like, that is another contender. Like, Wraith can easily like get an 8K if all the survivors like just downloaded the game. Like, pretty simple. But in terms of killer combos, yeah, Wraith is definitely, like, I don't think he's really that great in any combo, because like you said, he can definitely help in some scenarios, but I don't think those scenarios happen often enough for it to make sense.
Yeah, I also just feel like with the current combos of what he can help with, it isn't really that big of a deal. Like, he can't really help Puncher sneak up on people. People will still hear her lullaby. You really can't help Hillbilly sneak up because his chainsaw
Is just loud.
So really, the only ones that you can help sneak up, and even then, it's not worth it because Nurse moves so slowly, and if she uses her power,
you're gonna, yeah, you're just gonna be
people
gone.
are gonna hear it. Yeah, you're either gonna be going already, or people will hear it. So it's like, yeah, for Wraith to like actually properly give stealth, I feel like Huntress is not too bad, because just because people hear the lullaby, they'll be like, "Oh, she's just nearby,"
yeah,
and
but
it's like,
not,
"Oh no, she's right there," because she is undetectable.
Yeah, the Huntress'
like,
lullaby
like
isn't directional. That's why it's good. It's because it's not directional.
Yeah.
It's just a map-wide lullaby.
Right.
I do think, yeah, the stronger combos are definitely when you get two really strong killers together. Like when you and me would play like Billy and Huntress. Like that's like easily like one of the best combos you can have is Billy and Huntress, because you have Billy who can still injure people but also circle the map consistently, and then you have Huntress is just known for throwing cross map shots and just being able to be a range killer despite the fact that she's 4.4. Like, just easily being able to apply pressure with those two killers is really nice. Same goes for Nurse and Huntress. I remember playing with other friends besides you, where we would play Nurse and Huntress, and yeah, the combo is just as good as Billy and Huntress. So yeah, those two combos with Billy and Huntress and Nurse and Huntress definitely are like top tier combos. Like those are just outright good. I do think Tramper can definitely help out with, like, Tramper definitely can help, like, Billy in some scenarios, because Billy can kind of use his chainsaw to pressure people to be pushed, like, into his traps.
Yeah, it's the same with Huntress. Like, if Huntress is kind of pulling out a hatchet, forcing the Cyber to run back into maybe into a trap or something.
Yeah, but, like it's also just because Billy is, like, so aggressive, so it's, like, you kind of have to, like, move quickly, because otherwise he's, especially with Overdrive on Billy, which, that alone, like, originally people were happy about it, but I've seen some people complain about Overdrive, saying it's too strong. I don't personally see an issue with it. I think it's just goofy, but yeah, just the fact that Billy can be so aggressive and force you into places you really don't want to be, I can definitely see Tramper being, like, the support, being like, yeah, I'll push this person into this side of the map where all your traps are, so that way they have a higher chance of stepping in a trap. Because despite the fact that, like, even though killers can't help Tramper with his traps, like, killers can't, like, reset traps for him, or, like, you can't play a different killer but still play Tramper at the same time, basically. Like, you can't play both. So, but if somebody gets caught in a trap, you can hit them to down them the same way Trapper would, so that is, like, a benefit, because otherwise it's like if somebody gets caught in a trap, like, and you couldn't do anything, you would just have to let the Trapper do all the work. So that is a nice thing that they added, as well as you can't step in the Trapper's traps, and Trapper doesn't even get stuck in his own traps in this mode. The traps just simply get deactivated, I believe.
Yeah, he walks. It's the one brown add-on that Trapper has right now, where if you were to walk inside of I think it's like a makeshift brace or something like that, I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is if you were to use that add-on in the base game and walk over a set trap, instead of getting stuck in it and then having to get your foot stuck out of the trap, it just immediately clamps the trap when you walk over it.
Yeah.
So Trappers can't walk over his own trap without disarming them. The other killer can, though.
Yeah.
Without So
Yeah.
that makes it really. That's why I say I feel like Trapper's a really good support killer because they can run. The other killer can always run loops. Like Trapper has to be like, okay, I have a trap here, so I have to avoid the trap as well, or else I'll risk dearming it and then having to reset it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a good thing though because you do get the speed boost and could give your killer teammate the speed boost.
It's also a
as its team
good.
power.
It's also a good mind game because like somebody might see a killer like walk into a certain area, and be like, okay, there's no traps there. And then snap into a trap because there was one there, but they didn't see anything happen. So it can be kind of like a mind gamey kind of thing. If you're like just walking through, if they don't know you placed a trap there and you're kind of just walking through it, it's a decent little mind game. But yeah, I think Trapper and Billy is definitely a pretty good combo just for that aggressiveness. Same thing for Huntress and Trapper. I just feel like the thing is with Huntress is that she's a little bit too slow to be able to circle the map as good as like Billy could.
I guess that's fair, yeah. If someone gets stuck in a trap on the other side of the map, both the Trapper and Huntress just won't probably make it in time compared to Billy.
Yeah.
Specifically Billy, or maybe even Wraith. But, I don't know. I feel like Billy, like, for sure would be the better one to, like, get over there quickly and
I think when it comes to Wraith, I think the only way you're going to be able to get Wraith and Trapper to work is if you basically just 2v1 like every survivor you chase.
Yeah, you almost have to.
Because I think I did notice that when we played 2v8 as Survivor, like there would be a lot of people that would play Trapper and Wraith, and they would always like, I wouldn't say they would tunnel people out, but like they would definitely like stick together like as close as they could, and then if they both saw one person, they would both just tag team them. Like that is definitely something I did notice. But yeah, that's like the only situation I could see Trapper and Wraith being viable. I think Nurse and Trapper could be really good, but just because of the fact that it's Nurse. But I feel like it's just dependent on how good of a Nurse they are, just because Nurse is definitely not an easy killer to play. But I mean, yeah, Trapper's not bad. He definitely has a lot better combos than Wraith does, but like, yeah, he's definitely still more of like a support kind of killer, which makes sense when you look at his abilities, because like you said, one of his abilities is when you place a trap and your teammates next to you, they get a speed boost to support them in a chase, or
just get quickly to another part of the map or something.
Yeah, like it's definitely like he's definitely more of just that type of killer, similar to Wraith, where he's only really there just to help the other killer rather than trying to directly go against survivors. And then yeah, like Huntress and Nurse, like that is just a combo that I already knew was gonna happen, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, they are definitely really good because the fact that Huntress can like cross map somebody and the Nurse can instantly teleport to that side of the map to finish them off. Like I know I remember we had a lot of experiences with Huntress and Trapper mainly. But yeah, just the amount of experiences that we had where we would go to Thompson House and I would do nothing but sit on top of the main building and just look out each entrance to look at survivors, and then just keep cross-mapping people and just letting you go for everyone else pretty much.
Yeah, go for everyone else, yeah.
Like, that was definitely probably the most fun I had in the mode.
It was Trapper's homeland defense.
Yeah, like literally, it was Trapper's homeland defense, and I was the mobile turret, basically.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I was because there's lockers upstairs too, so I could always reload whenever I needed to. Like, it was literally just in a mobile turret Huntress, and then Trapper guarding the rest of the map. So that was definitely a fun experience. But yeah, Huntress.
Yep, out in the field, setting bear traps. Bears been in the crops. Good thing I set up that mobile turret. Shoots hatchets.
It's me standing on top of that hatchet, just staring at people. Like, it was definitely the most fun I had in 2v8, just because of how goofy it was and how like a lot of
how effective. Unironically, how effective it was.
Yeah, no.
Survivors.
Because like you would think like, okay, my killer friend is standing on one part of the map and they're not leaving. This is an instant loss because they're not going to be able to help me. But just the fact that I was able to even if I couldn't hit people, just the fact that like my aura of me sitting on top of main was enough pressure
And
to
throwing
people.
hatchets at just walls was enough to like push people off the generators into like, oh, okay, I don't want to get hit.
Yeah, like it was enough to pressure people so that way you could chase them. And if worst comes to worst, I would always just cross map people just because like dude, this game would literally taught me more about Huntress than I have learned just from playing the Huntress in standard DBD. So like it was definitely just a very fun and surprisingly effective experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the killer combos you can do with like Huntress alone is definitely one of the best killers to combo with. But the killer combinations pretty much range from really, really strong and effective to it's not really gonna work because you're playing support characters basically. And especially when you gotta think that all the survivors have unique classes that like help them in some way. It's like especially for like the scout class because they could just see the Wraith's aura despite the fact that they're invisible. Just stuff like that really makes it like not really worth it to play those like certain killers. But I mean, like if you just like want to dick around, you don't care about winning, you just want to play Trapper and Wraith. It's not. I'm not saying like don't play them, but like just keep in mind if you're trying to win, you're definitely gonna have to try a lot harder.
You're gonna have to get creative with it.
Yeah, like you're definitely gonna have to be unique. Like this is an idea that I had, and I'm definitely gonna make this a video one day. But I remember in 2v8, me and Gage, we were playing Billy and Huntress, and I came up with the idea because Hillbilly has a skin that basically is just Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we came up with like the Bat Billy and the Cattress for Catwoman, and we basically just were like basically just Batman and Catwoman in 2v8, which was just a really funny meme that we did. I'm definitely gonna turn that into a video one day, or at least add clips of it, just because it's a really funny. Those were really funny matches, and as well as we had a lot of fun with, you know, 5 people playing the same survivor, or all of us theming ourselves around a specific like thing, like when we did. Yeah,
we did it where we all played as Old Man Jake. We did another one since there was 5 of us. We did the Left 4 Dead because there was Bill and
yeah, there's
the original
Bill
4
and then,
survivors have represent 8 different Left 4 Dead survivors, so we did that for fun.
and then we did everyone
we did
played
Resident Evil. Yeah, everyone playing a different Resident Evil character.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely some enjoyable, goofy moments. I remember that was another thing you said during one of the things that like that 2VA is definitely now made like the funniness for like a Scooby-Doo chapter.
Yeah, that was something I talked about, how like that game mode alone made me want a Scooby-Doo chapter just because like it was just so chaotic and goofy playing as like a specific group of characters that like it was just a mess, but like it was really funny to actually play the game. It was really great, and those were definitely really fun moments that I experienced in 2v8. And yeah, so like we said before, 2v8 does end in about like 3 to 4 days, but
from this recording.
Yeah, from this recording. But basically for like kind of like final thoughts ish, what do you think in terms of just final thoughts about our first, as the devs say it, the first iteration of 2v8?
The first iteration. I think the concept is there. Obviously, everyone wants this. It needs. I think to make it a much better. I think I'll agree with some of the people that are having issues not wanting this to be a permanent game mode right now. I think it needs a lot more love. See, part of me is like, I want it to be permanent because just like Dead by Daylight when it first came out, I want to be able to continue to play it whenever I feel like, so then I can keep adapting and like figuring out like, okay, this is an issue. So then you can like, the community can voice their opinions, because if they take it down we no longer can play it and voice any new concerns that may come up from just playing the mode.
Right.
And that's my problem. I would rather the mode be permanent, so that way we can always continue to voice our concerns. Like, I think 3 weeks now is definitely long enough that opinions should be good enough to warrant issues, but anything outside the actual game mode, like people complaining about queue times, like I just
I mean, that was to be expected.
They never felt that bad, but I don't know about the main game mode because I'm gonna be real with you. I almost don't care about the main game mode now. Like,
that's a really good point. Is that Gage isn't really like a huge DBD person anymore, which I totally understand. But he he played the game nonstop with me for like days just because of 2v8 existing.
it was just such a fresh of like.
It felt like it was a different game. It felt like it was definitely
it just felt like a different game. But yeah, that's like the only thing is like it's just a variety. Like hopefully they add more like survivor classes and like that's what they decide to do. Just put variety in there, and then hopefully they most likely will hopefully do more survivor classes or balance out some of the ones that are in there because I think guide could be a little tweaking. And I think you'd be fine. I think the other three are fine for the most part. Like the medic class is what do you expect? It was the medic class.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe escapist. I think a lot of people were saying like I get it. It is the strongest one, but just because it helps in chase or give that movement speed bonus and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they can tweak that one just a tiny bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because. The thing to keep in mind too is because, like I said, because the devs did explain because it was supposed to only last for 2 weeks, and because of just how good and how well received it was, they extended it to an extra week, and they explained that as much as they want to keep the game mode permanent, they understand that queue times are a big issue, and they wanted to take the feedback they already have to work on the mode and add new content, because me and Gage have already talked about it. Like, they're obviously going to bring this back, hopefully fairly soon, but we know that if they bring it back again, there's going to be new stuff, like new killers, new abilities, stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they added new classes, like more than just the basic four.
Yeah, or like rebalance some of them or something like that.
Yeah,
that's like the only thing is it's just the variety. Definitely, like obviously for the first iteration, it makes sense. But yeah, it would have been nice to for just a little extra variety. Like if they could have just added like the first, at least the first Steam DLC pack of killers, which I think was what like.
It was like Dr. Hag. I think Spirit as well. Spirit and Clown.
Spirit and Clown, something like that. Yeah, because like console version has Hag and Doctor, like they get that prepackaged with the game.
Yeah.
So like I feel like they could have done that unless they just didn't have enough time to think of how to balance those killers and like have a team power. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
but it would have been nice just because then that would have been a little bit more killer variety, and I think it would have been better because I know that was another huge Survivor complaint, which made Survivor a little more boring because there just isn't that killer variety at all.
Yeah,
and I get it because like why would you not play a Huntress Billy Nurse or Nurse Huntress? Like
it gets to a point where the variety's not in what killers they're playing. The variety just starts coming in how that person plays that killer, because
it does kind of start
because you might get a Huntress who's fairly new to the game and like they're still kind of learning how that killer works. Meanwhile, they're paired up with a Billy who's like 5,000 hours cracked, knows how to hit a 90-degree angle, like that's where like the variety still is in 2v8 at the moment, because like once you see every killer, you already know how to deal with them. And it stops becoming variety in terms of the killers, more in terms of the players, rather than But I mean, no, I definitely did enjoy this mode. I definitely played this mode more than I think any other mode, because I know I didn't make videos on it, but I know that there was Chaos Shuffle, there was there was Chaos Shuffle, My Little Oni. I don't remember if there was another one. Could be wrong. Because there was a Lights Out,
it was
Chaos Shuffle, My Little Oni.
I want to say there was one more, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I know that they turned the event.
I guess technically the anniversary event.
Yeah, because that. Yeah, I guess that's true. They did take the anniversary event and turn it into its own queue. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Its own like modifier, which
So
was definitely.
yeah, it does.
Sure.
It does show at least that the devs are willing to take something that's different from the main Dead by Daylight, and instead of just forcing it into the game, forcing people to deal with it, they're just making it a separate queue now. And one thing,
which is good.
yeah, and one thing to keep in mind about 2v8 as well is that it does have a rift, and it kind of got a little bit of like backlash when it first came out because in page 1 of the rift, half of it was survivor and half of it was killer, and a lot of people were upset about that because nobody wanted to wait 15 minutes for a queue just to do one challenge. Like.
Yeah.
Nobody. So in the second page, they changed it so half of it was killer, or no, half of it was survivor, and the other half was you could either play killer or survivor, just to give people like the incentive to, if they want to play killer, they
play
can.
Survivor.
And because there was on day 1, because of how many people were playing killer, there was like little to no people playing survivor, so they literally had to add a 400% blood point bonus for basically the entire event. I'm pretty sure they lowered it to 150 now because like it started becoming more balanced. But yeah, they upped it to 400% at one point just because like nobody wanted to play survivor, everybody wanted to play killer. But I mean, yeah, no, I think as a first time for because I think the thing is with the Dead by Daylight game modes and game modifiers, whatever, is most of them up to this point, except for My Little Oni, most of them have been stuff that we've seen in standard Dead by Daylight. Like, I remember the point I made to you about Lights Out was that it's similar to just Dredge's ability. Or
yeah, it was
Chaos Shuffle, which Chaos Shuffle was based on a tome challenge that they had where it just gave you random perks. Like, My Little Oni was the start of the really goofy stuff. And then 2v8 was where the goofiness went off.
And it being and it also just being really unique of a mode too, instead of just like it's Lights Out, there's no perks.
That's true.
I think we made a whole video on your channel about that, so that's
because Lights Out.
That's somewhere on this channel if you really care. But
yeah, because Lights Out being the first game mode, like we definitely had some stuff to say because it was the first official different thing
modifier, and it was very like this was not a good start.
It wasn't a good start, but they definitely, I feel like every game mode that's come out to this point, they've definitely gotten better and better leading up to 2v8, which is really strange because I don't think they'll be able to top 2v8 like just at all. I think this game mode is just, it's too good for them to top it, I feel, because like
I think if no, there's that one mode, and I think so like 2v8 is our casual game mode, like super casual. You just get in, have some fun. You can play competitively. I just don't ever see
you don't have to worry because you don't have to worry about ranks.
It still has the balance issue of 1 player versus 4. That just never is going to be balanced.
Yeah.
No, I think one of the modes that they announced as a concept back in the survey when they did the whole like game mode thing, that I think competitor players, depending how they balance in how the game rules work, because that was never talked about, it was just, hey, this is a concept, was, I think they called it payload 5v5.
Oh yeah,
where you have a team of survivors and 1 killer versus another team of survivors and like their own killer. And I assume the mode, if I can recall, I assume the mode is survivors race to complete generators before the other team, and then the killers are obviously there to slow them down.
Yeah, no, I remember what you, yeah.
And I think depending how that's balanced, how that mode is run and stuff, and whenever they do introduce that, because I hope they do, I think that is like, if Behavior wants to make the game more competitive and have something to truly start the balance around, that's the mode they need. They need something like that where there's actual like balanced teams in a way that can work or get like
Yeah,
just kind of
and it would actually be a reason to have the ranking system in one of these modes, since people could play that in a more competitive way, since they're trying to do everything as fast as they humanly can.
Yeah, like there's still different roles within that team, but like yeah, it's still the fact that like you are now a group of survivors facing another group of survivors. And it could be a fun casual mode. I could see it depending again. It could be fun, still a casual
Yeah,
like
just
mode
a
if you
chill
want to play
mode,
casually.
but like they could,
like,
it could be a pretty sweaty mode if people really wanted to sweat.
Right, and I would totally support that for like being a actual sweaty just mode for people that want to have their skill expression and stuff like that. It depends again how they balance it and whatnot, but I think it would be much better than people trying to make like 2v8 a sweaty mode.
Yeah, no,
But it's just designed to be a silly like, hey, you get to play like, it's just 2v8's way too chaotic and way too.
Because even from the 2v8 trailer, like it was pretty obvious that they were trying to make it seem more like a chilled out, like, you know, you just load in with a killer buddy and you just play killer and you don't gotta worry about winning necessarily. Like, obviously it's still gonna suck when like all the gens get done and you don't get any kills. It's still gonna suck, but it's not gonna suck as much because you're just like, well, I couldn't do anything. 2v8.
Like, yeah, I'll just blame my partner. It wasn't my fault.
Like, dude, that only makes sense if you're playing solo queue.
Yeah. Which no, I still blame you.
I've only played solo queue 2v8 as killer once, and it wasn't the worst experience. So it just depends on who you get. If you get me, it's over. We're losing.
We're losing.
But I mean, at this point, with how many game modes we have, I definitely think this is definitely like the peak now of where we've gotten in Dead by Daylight. I definitely think that, honestly, they really could at this point start doing randomized like pools of game modes, or doing like a poll being like asking the community like what game mode they want to see next, because of just how many game modes that we have. Because even if it's like, because yeah, I understand that like people are probably gonna side with 2v8, or some people are gonna side with Chaos Shuffle, but that's like the whole thing, is that like even if they don't want to run it by a poll because they know it's gonna be like too like one-sided, they can still just do it as a random like every few weeks it changes a game mode.
Dude, I also saw that too, as some people were like, don't make the game mode permanent, but make it roll out like once a month.
Yeah,
you know, just like 1 week out of the month, or maybe one weekend, or you know, just like throw it on like a loop where like you switch between Chaos Shuffle and like 2v8, and then maybe
Lights Out, something like that.
Yeah, if they want to bring back Lights Out for whatever reason, like yeah, for sure. Like I definitely kind of agree with that. Like just rotate the events.
Well, especially because now with all of the unique things they've had, from random perks to survivors having specific classes in 2v8, like to instead of hooking people, you can put them in cages. I feel like they can go back to stuff like Chaos Shuffle, or go back to stuff like Lights Out, and change them to make more sense with stuff like 2v8. So that way it's like, this isn't standard DBD. So that way like people don't look at Chaos Shuffle or Lights Out and say, oh, it's just Dead by Daylight, but there's like one change. Like, no, people can look at those game modes and say, yeah, no, this is definitely unique compared to the standard Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, imagine like Lights Out, and these are modifiers, so imagine like Lights Out over like 2v8.
Yeah, like stuff like that. But I also mean like, instead of like for example, like Chaos Shuffle, you can have the ability to just give you a random class, or with Lights Out, instead of hooking people, you can send people to cages, or you know, just little things like that, or like or like with Lights Out, they can do the thing with Killer where every time a gen gets done, they can see your aura. Like, just stuff to make it feel like it's a different mode and not just Dead by Daylight with one change.
Yeah, very true.
Like, but I mean, yeah, no, overall 2v8, great game mode, loved it.
Banger.
Absolute banger. This is the first time I'm going to say Dead by Daylight has gotten a W
W.
Except
Yep.
for the one thing that I still need to talk about, which I am working on. I know I need to talk
You're
about.
working on it.
I know I need to
Oh
talk
my
about the.
god.
I know I need to talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's and Dead by Daylight collab. I know I need to talk about it. I'm still working on it, but I have a lot of things to say about that. I think the one day that I did the voice recording for that video, it was like 2.5 hours of just me talking about FNAF and 2v8. Or not 2v8, FNAF and Dead by Daylight.
Holy
Like
shit.
I think that audio was literally like 2.5 hours. So if I'm gonna talk about a FNAF Dead by Daylight collab, it's gonna be a really big one. But I'm still excited to talk about it. But it's gonna take me a little bit longer. But that is, I mean, that's basically it. We have talked about everything I think I needed to about 2v8.
Yep.
And yeah, I just got to keep working on the FNAF Dead by Daylight video because that's gonna be that's gonna be a real crazy one.
Gonna be a banger. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, that is okay. Dead by Daylight has gotten 2 W's.
2 W's, and the other one hasn't even come out yet. Woo! W.
Yeah, that's gonna be for another video, so you can stay tuned for that. I will link Gage's YouTube channel in the description. Check him out. He's also pretty. He doesn't post as much as I do, but he still has some
Nowhere
interesting.
near as much.
He still has some interesting stuff there that I think you should watch. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I got the FNAF DBD video I'm working on. Some other stuff I'm working on as well. There's a lot going on, but if you have any last words that you want to say, then floor is yours, man. The floor is yours if you got anything else to say.
I just want them to not break Naughty Bear in the next patch.
Alright, doesn't want Naughty Bear to break. That's, oh yeah, because Dracula is coming out soon. Yeah. Which I did stream that, by the way. I do stream on YouTube fairly frequently, I guess, kind of, not really, but like I do stream every now and then, so if you see it, there you go. I'm live on YouTube. I don't stream on Twitch because Twitch is gross.
Which is gooey.
Don't ever say that again. Alright, so that's it. And I will see you guys in the next one, so oh shit, Gage.
Yeah, what's up?
Turns out they patched the Naughty Bear bug in the they patched it, but
They did? Fuck. Man, we gotta get on some 2v8 then. Let's go fucking play.
yeah, but they only patched it in the Dracula PTB that doesn't even exist anymore.
Only the PTV.
Mm-hmm.